The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody and delighted to be joined once again by the University of Nebraska System President, Dr. Jeff Gold, as he checks in once again with us throughout this spring semester. Welcome back.
It's always a great pleasure to be with you.
Crazy spring sports are underway, including Husker baseball gets underway coming up this weekend out there in Arizona. What excites you the most about this spring sports season?
Well, certainly Husker baseball is a big part of it. I look forward to spending some time out in Haymarket and cheering on the team. You know, growing up in the inner city of New York, I've always been a baseball fan, and in case your audience doesn't know it, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Yankees fan, have been for many years. Define the end of the baseball season by when the Red Sox are eliminated. You know, you can tell. But, you know, I used to save my nickels and dimes and get onto the subway and go up to Yankee Stadium and watch baseball. And so as I've gotten more and more into collegiate baseball and into the College World Series, it's just been incredibly exciting for me. So I'm really looking forward to this baseball season. Have a lot of great hopes for the team. I know the coach is excited about it as well, and I'm sure we'll be quite competitive.
Hopefully John Baylor didn't hear that Red Sox comment, by the way.
Well, I know he and I have had that conversation.
Well, Nebraska will be hosting a major bioeconomy event at the end of April, bringing together business, government, and education leaders from across the United States. What can you tell our listeners about it?
Yeah, so this is a really big deal. This is the United States Council on Competitiveness that hosts these listening sessions across the United States. It's going to be April 29th and 30th. It's going to be held in Omaha on the grounds of the Durham Museum. And it's an opportunity to talk about the bioeconomy. And of course, the University of Nebraska and the state of Nebraska are just the right place to have that conversation. And these are people with big ideas, not just about, you know, putting food on the table for America and the rest of the world, but it's all about cloth, building supplies. It's all about new medications, cosmetics, so many other things that need to be part of the bioeconomy. So we have speakers and panelists coming in from across the country and around the world. There'll be several hundred people here. And again, hosted by this large national organization, which I have the honor of serving on the board with, which is even more exciting. I guess no good deed goes unpunished. And the opportunity for us to participate and to host it here, I thought was just a way to bring true talent and national recognition.
Oh, that's exciting. I also understand that one of our very own Husker researchers who focuses on the bioeconomy recently was recognized with a national award. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's really exciting also. Dr. James Schnabel, who is the Nebraska Corn Presidential Chair, was honored with this award. So this is the 2026 National Academy of Sciences Prize in Food and Agriculture Sciences. This is one of the highest recognitions in this area in the United States. And I know I've just learned that he is actually the youngest researcher to win the award since its inception. You know, go youth in every possible way.
Wow.
So what he does is he studies plant genomics and genetics and ways that we can increase crop yield and reduce input costs. And he's just a remarkable gentleman and honored recently by the Board of Regents as well.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, speaking of awards, I know you had the opportunity recently to spend some time at the Omaha area high schools honoring some very high-achieving students. What can you tell us about these high school students?
So this is part of the Presidential Scholars Program, which our audience may know about, recognizing perfect ACT recipients. So these are kids that get a solid 36 on their ACT, which obviously takes a great deal of practice and skill to get to that point. Thus far, while we don't know exactly how many there are in the state, we do know how many have actually applied to the University of Nebraska system to all of our campuses, and that number is 46 so far. So last week, I had the opportunity to go to the Elkhorn School District and the Millard School District. From those two school districts, I actually met 20 of those 46 students and their families, congratulated them, and look forward to welcoming them as students here on all of the University of Nebraska campuses. And, this is just another example of how we are working very hard with both merit-based and need-based scholarship support. And this particular program is a full ride, meaning it's full cost of attendance plus a stipend to make sure that there are no economic barriers to these students attending here, but the programmatic things that we offer in terms of leadership development, unique interdisciplinary and interprofessional coursework. Think about programs like the Rake School or the Kiewit Scholars or the Scott Scholars and so many others are world-renowned, high-performing programs, and that's exactly what these perfect ACT kids are interested in.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, last week we celebrated National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and you are a huge supporter of women in sports and our women's sports here. You are everywhere. First of all, let me be the first to say thank you for being such a big supporter of women in sports. Why is that so important to you, to be everywhere and support our women and our sports?
Well, first of all, the athleticism and the performance of these young women is truly remarkable. And not to take anything away from the men's sports, but, we've enjoyed them and applauded them for decades and decades and decades. And I think now we're going through a time where we're recognizing the fact that women's sports are just as exciting, in some ways even more exciting, because the sports are different. They're just, handled differently in terms of the recruitment and the training and others. These young women work really hard, not only to be students, but to be athletes. And the athleticism and the performance on the hardwood and on, soon to be in flag football and other areas as well is truly remarkable. So I have the honor of attending many of the games. As you know, I'm a huge volleyball fan and love to do the pregame with John. And even if he is a Red Sox fan, what can I say? But really enjoying men's and women's basketball. What a season that we have. And of course, softball is right around the corner. So, this is a time for us to recognize these young women and to really do everything we can to make them feel welcome. And one of the things we're doing is adding scholarships to women's sports. I heard our athletic director, Troy Dannon, say not too long ago that we're adding 70 some odd scholarships to support women athletes. That could be the largest addition in the conference, if not within the NCAA, in a long, long time, to really make sure that all the Title IX commitments are not just, into the letter of the law, but to the true spirit of the regulation as well.
Yeah, so great opportunities with the addition of those scholarships for student athletes. And you mentioned it, flag football. Are you fired up for that? Another sport for you to attend and support?
Why not? Absolutely. And I think the community is going to love it. The Nebraska fan base is incredible, and I think this is a state that really values women's sports. And so I think the combination of bringing a new sport, particularly one as popular as flag football. I read somewhere that there are 20 million people playing flag football now in the United States. Obviously, it's going to be an Olympic sport in the next Olympic go-around. And why can't we be the first? Of course we are. This is Nebraska.
I love it. I love it. Great stuff, as always. Thank you so much for your time here with us.
Always an honor. Look forward to next time.
Again, that is President Dr. Jeff Gold here with us on Sports Nightly as he checks in here with us throughout the spring semester. Got to step aside for a break. More of the show coming up right after this.